How is this Stuttgart Surge team different from last year?
Well, I think that
We doing everything they talk about. You know I'm everything a boss about. Not putting work and gotta toss them out. I'm really biting, they just barking out. I'm really riding, they just parking now. His street, what to talk about. See the big H when I'm walking out.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Before we start this interview right now, don't forget to like this show, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your support at Athletes Forum and supporting base coverage. We'll continue to bring you more content coming soon. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Base Coverage. I'm your host, Jamal Clay. This is presented by Athletes Forum. Today we have another special guest here joining the show. We have a part owner now bringing you a different perspective. We got Jakob Johnson, fullback of the Las Vegas Raiders, but now part owner of the Stuttgart Surge. So what's going on, man? How you doing?
what's going on, man. I'm just right now in my car. I wish I could give you a better background for the interview, but when you move to a new city, I got to find an apartment, got to get settled in and all those things. So I'm just still working through that.
I hear you. Well, hey, let's dive into it. We got a couple of things on the menu to discuss. And, one of those things is about your experience to the league. You can relate to some of these guys that are going through, the international player pathway by the NFL. For those who don't know, you played at Tennessee. And then, after Tennessee, you played for the, Stuttgart Scorpions before having the opportunity to go be part of the IPP. So talk a little about, your experience going through that process.
Yeah, well, when career, I didn't really have the stats to, make a jump into the NFL directly. And I also had a shoulder surgery right at the end of that senior year that kind of prevented me from really training for my pro day, right? So I did my pro day off of like 2 weeks of training, did terrible, right? And essentially packed my bags back up and moved back home. Some of my friends that I grew up playing with for the Scorpions actually had to talk me into playing for the Scorpions again, right? In the German league. And that's probably the best decision that I ever made, because from there, I got picked up by the scouts from the NFL IPP program, got an invite to a tryout, nailed the tryout, and then got invited to be part of that program.
That's awesome. Now, we recently, the league, the European League of Football, just had two guys get the opportunity to go, and, Dayo, cornerback from the Stuttgart Surge last year, and Dayo, defensive end from the Berlin Thunder. Talk a little bit about the experience that those guys are about to go through heading into, rookie mini camp, OTAs, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's, drinking from a fire hose is, I think, what they call it, right? It's a
lot thrown at you,
yeah. It's a big adjustment, but, every rookie going into the NFL goes through that. Yeah. And I really do believe that the Pathway program does a great job of not only physically preparing those guys to compete, but also mentally preparing you for that competitive environment and that kind of high pressure environment that you're going to be in. So yeah, I think these guys are set up to have a good year. And then, on top of that, you have American athletes who came to the ELF last season, who are now getting a shot at the USFL. So I really think that the ELF is starting to show that it can be like that developmental league in Europe that gives guys opportunities even to go back to America if that's what they want to pursue.
You got any advice for these guys and on what they should expect going into camp? Obviously you're someone that's been through the process. You made the degree. You played for a great organization in the Patriots and had the opportunity to play with the GOAT and Tom Brady. What's some advice you would give like Dayo and Dayo heading into camp? What they should expect, but something that they may not know ahead of time.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's all about I always say just you got to take it one rep at a time, one day at a time, and just move from there. Right, be where your feet are. You don't want to get too much in your head. You don't want to overthink things. Right. At the end of the day, you've been playing this game for a long time, maybe not as long as your American counterparts, but there's a reason why you got this opportunity. And if you take advantage of every opportunity that you're presented with, during camp, during OTAs, take advantage of every rep, every mental rep that you can take of the guys in front of you. you'll put yourself in the best position to succeed. That's all you can do. You got to control what you can control, and just keep working. Right? There'll be setbacks, but there'll also be those moments that show you, hey, I do belong here. Right? You'll make a play. Right? You'll get that acknowledgement from coach. You'll do something on film that gets pointed out in a meeting, and those moments you just wanna hold on to those. Anytime they point out something bad that you're doing, right, something that you did wrong, just take it as a learning lesson and build from there.
Yeah, I mean, talking to guys like you, and I played in college, and I got some friends that are in the league. The one thing that I'm hearing, even from you, is the mental game. The mental game is everything. The further you go up, is obviously taking care of your body, and everybody at that level could play, but the smarter you are on the field, the faster you're going to play. So that's definitely some great advice those guys should take in. Now let's pivot a little bit to the ELF, right? So this league started last year. Everybody was skeptical. Nobody knew, what was going to come from it, how it was going to run. Ultimately, it ended up being a great success. From your perspective, what intrigues you about the league, or what caught your attention for you to say, hey, I wanted to be a part of this, which ultimately led to you, having some ownership with the Stuttgart Surge? Yeah.
Well, I've been there, right? I lived it. I came up in the German club team system, right? Mm-hmm. That's why I had my first experience as a football player. I'm a diehard Stuttgart Scorpion to this day, right? That's my first love. That's why I fell in love with football. That's where friends I have today stem from the time that I spent there in the youth program. And then I got a chance after college to come back and see what the German GFL football is like on the adult side, right? I never played in the GFL adult league before I got to college, but getting that kind of all around picture, there was always that disconnect where I saw football grow so massively when it comes to NFL viewership, right? And the amount of people who started having a connection to NFL football in Germany. It would be my uncle, who was like a diehard soccer guy his whole life, right? Never understood what I was doing in college. All of a sudden I'm back in Germany, and he's telling me about, there's the football bromance, and he's starting to watch the NFL, and he's starting to follow the playoffs, and now he understands the rules. And I was just always wondering, okay, football is the most entertaining sport in the world, right? Yeah. The NFL obviously has hands down. The NFL obviously has the most entertaining product. Why can't we build something like that, right, in Europe with European athletes, and give guys that don't make the jump to college, or that don't make the jump to the pros in the United States, a chance to, make a living with their sport here? Yeah. Because what I would see over and over again is these really talented guys that, for whatever reason, didn't get the exposure or didn't get the information that they needed to take them to a D1 scholarship, or they probably take an NAIA scholarship. Yeah. But they for some reason they didn't get the look, right? And now they were playing in the GFL in Germany, and they would do that for 3-4 years. But eventually, at least when they're done with university, they have to get serious, and they look around and they realize there's no way that I can make any type of money in GFL football. I can't even get my gas tank paid for to go to practice, So I just, from the first moment, the ELF made sense to me, because it's just an opportunity for athletes in Europe to make money, right, and to showcase their talents, and at the same time to bring in really talented guys from overseas and give them a more attractive offer than, hey, all we have for you is an apartment. No, we can actually pay you some money. We can get your exposure. The games are on TV. You'll have a great time. You'll have that kind of pro football experience that you might be looking for, that you can't get in the United States. So I think there's a huge growth opportunity in football in Europe, and especially in Germany. And I think the ELF is going to take full advantage of that. It's crazy, and hindsight's 2020. You understand what's making the league different. It's not only the marketing, but it's the exposure, like you mentioned. After year one, you're seeing guys get drafted to the CFL. You're seeing guys having the opportunity through the IPP to go to the NFL, or to play in the USFL,
or next year when the XFL opens, who knows what that opportunity is going to open? Like guys are getting real opportunities to advance their game and play at higher levels on top of still playing at a high level with the ELF. So, year one was a success, but the marketing and the exposure that the league is providing these guys is even huge. And it's exciting going into year two. Obviously, you probably can hear it in my voice. I can't wait. I can't wait for the next 30 days for week one to kick off. But it's exciting to see that hope and stuff like that. From your perspective, right? I want to get your opinion. Like within the next 5 years. And I'm not asking you to break any news, or I just kind of like what you're thinking. Like where do you see the ELF? Like where do you see the growth and the possibilities what this league could look like in 5 years?
Well, first of all, credit to everybody involved in the ELF for even making it through that first year with all the restrictions that
during COVID.
During COVID.
During COVID, yeah.
It's a little different here in the United States. I mean, America was pretty much back to normal after about 2 weeks of lockdown. It was different in Germany. Like there were curfews, there was no practices being allowed. I think you'll see a huge difference in the league this year because all these restrictions fall away. The fans will really be allowed in the stadium. And for me, I think where I feel, and I'm not basing this of any numbers that I've seen, but just where I feel the league trending is I can see the ELF in due time overtake the role of the CFL, right? Just because when you look at the excitement that the fans have, right, and the engagement that the fans have, it is so high in Germany, in those European countries, compared to, I would say, the fan engagement that you see over in Canada, that, if we just keep doing the work, keep growing the game, keep improving the product that's on the field, and keep improving that entertainment factor, I think the ELF will be right up there with the CFL and the NFL in due time.
Bro, the crazy thing is that since NFL Europe, obviously, they stopped playing games and disappeared, there's been a fan base that's been untapped, and a lot of fans are like, all right, well, there's no football. Do I gravitate towards soccer, basketball, whatever? And I feel like the ELF is kind of bringing those guys back in a little bit. Some of these teams are playing in huge soccer stadiums, and like you mentioned, with the possibility of what it could get to, you can see those stadiums being half full, 3/4 full. The growth and the potential is there, and it's exciting to cover it. But it's also exciting to see the backage from the back support from the fans and stuff like that too. So that's definitely exciting.
I mean that's what showed it to me, right? Even in this first year, the ELF had its own, dare I say, star players, right? Yeah. You had names that would resonate with fan bases across the country. Of course, you got a guy like Kasim, who was kind of brought his own personality, but even the guys down in Frankfurt and in Leipzig, there were these names that kept sticking out and that really made a connection with the fan base. So I think if we just keep growing it, keep filling those stadiums up, keep getting guys involved with the sport, get the fans excited about it, the sky's the limit.
Most definitely. Hey, I mentioned before, we're about 30 days away from week one. The Stuttgart Surge, and you're opening against the Barcelona Dragons, or your team's opening against the Barcelona Dragons, which they opened with last year, and they got the win. I think it scores 21-17. From what or what you've seen through the camps and talking with the teams and stuff, how is this Stuttgart Surge team different from last year?
Well, I think the overall as an organization, we're in a better place. We got a new GM. Coach Hansemann is still doing great work. Yeah, and I'm excited, to watch our defense and our offense just take the field. Right, these guys have been hit as hard as anyone with the COVID restrictions last season. There's a lot of kind of ups and downs throughout the year. It was not the easiest year, but I think the kind of core of the team that we have now, our guys are really dedicated, not only to the team, but to the sport in general. Like some of these guys I've watched from the time that they were in the youth team from the Scorpions, working their way up to now being starters in the ELF. So yeah, I'm just excited to see those guys take the field and get some wins.
Most definitely. Well, hey man, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate your time. It's been great having the opportunity to chop it up with you and talk some ball. Any final words, before we head into week one?
Hey man, I would say if you don't have the ELF Game Pass, get it now.
Hey.
If you can make it to a stadium, get to a stadium, get you a nice rote Wurst and a nice German beer, and enjoy the games. It's going to be a fun summer.
Most definitely. Well, thanks again for coming on. Jacob Johnson, fullback for the Las Vegas Raiders, also part owner of the Stuttgart Surge. It's going to be an exciting season. We're 1 month away. They open up against Barcelona, which would be an exciting matchup. Thank you for your time, my man, and hopefully it's not the last time we chop it up.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Beat me up, Scotty. Hard work, they don't know about